While polls opened in Russia on Friday, voting in Russia's illegally occupied territories of Ukraine had already started. Ukrainian media claim Russian authorities used a carrot-and-stick approach to gather votes and ensure a high turnout. Kyiv calls the elections on its occupied territories illegal and fictitious.
Найчастіше це яким чином уникнути голосування, яким чином буде трактуватися за українським законом, якщо вони все ж таки вимушено поставлять якусь відмітку та проголосують. Як про це проінформувати відповідні українські органи? Порада вона одна. В тимчасовій окупації найважливіше – це вижити та зберегти своє життя і здоров'я. Тож примусове голосування чи примусова участь у незаконному процесі – це точно не несе для себе відповідальності за законом.
Ukrainian authorities have emphasized that citizens that do not want to support Moscow in the elections but have been forced to do it will not face legal consequences. In September 2022, Russia unilaterally declared its occupation of the Ukrainian Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia oblasts.
Thank you again. Thank you.
French President Emmanuel Macron has said that all options are possible when discussing the possibility of sending troops into Ukraine. Speaking on French television, Macron insisted that winning the war against Russia and Ukraine was crucial to the safety of Europe. His comments have previously drawn criticism from NATO partners, who maintain a more cautious approach.
Jamais nous ne mènerons d'offensive, jamais nous ne prendrons l'initiative. La France est une force de paix. Simplement, aujourd'hui, pour avoir la paix en Ukraine, il ne faut pas être faible. Et donc, il nous faut lucidement regarder la situation et il nous faut, avec détermination, volonté, courage, dire que nous sommes prêts à mettre les moyens pour atteindre notre objectif qui est que la Russie ne gagne pas.
German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock echoed his sentiment on Thursday. However, she faces opposition from Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who is a critic of sending ground troops into Ukraine. Macron is due to meet Scholz and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk in Berlin, where they will discuss how to supply aid to Ukraine and reduce tensions in the conflict. At least 20 people have been killed and more than 150 injured in an attack on a food queue on the Kuwait roundabout in Gaza, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Israel has denied claims it is firing on people waiting for aid and said it is examining the incident. On Thursday, the Palestinian Authority head, Mahmoud Abbas, appointed the new Prime Minister, his close ally and businessman, Mohammed Mustafa. Mustafa now faces the task of forming a new government for the Palestinian Authority, which has limited power in the West Bank. The move is seen by many as following a vision of post-war Gaza supported by Washington. Meanwhile, the Biden administration imposed sanctions on 3 Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank, accused of harassing and attacking Palestinians. Biden is facing growing criticism for his strong support for Israel as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens.
Violence and chaos in Haiti continue, but plans to create a transitional presidential council are moving forward. The Caribbean country is currently under a state of emergency, with criminal gangs rampaging across the capital. Last weekend, gangs attacked Haiti's national prison and set at least 3,800 inmates free. On Monday, the unpopular Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigned, opening the doors to an uncertain transition. Kenya will lead a UN-approved security mission aimed at tackling gang violence plaguing the Northern Hemisphere's poorest nation. For several months, Sweden has been experiencing an alarmingly rapid rise in organized crime and gang violence, mostly related to drug trafficking. Now, the Swedish government has announced a new national strategy of dealing with it. The plan involves guidelines to stop the recruitment in schools of children and young people in criminal activities. According to the Minister of Justice, it will provide a clear direction for government agencies, municipalities, regions, businesses, and civil societies.
Elderly citizens and retirees can now find jobs as Olympic security guards in Paris. The recruitment campaign has been launched in response to the shortage of younger candidates. Seniors are being called in to help with bag searches, ticket checks, and surveillance. Nearly 7,000 people are still needed. Over 180,000 retired people aged 62 to 65 have been asked to lend a helping hand, and 600 of them have already accepted.
The Italian Coast Guard has airlifted 2 unconscious migrants off a ship in the Mediterranean Sea. The pair needed immediate medical attention. They reportedly told rescuers around 60 people had died on their ship that set out from North Africa. Close to 20,000 migrants have arrived in Italy through that route since the beginning of the year. More than 200 have died.
Michigan father James Crumbley has been found guilty on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The charges stem from his teenage son Ethan's decision to open fire on students at Oxford High School in 2021, fatally shooting 4 classmates and wounding 7 others. Crumbley's conviction comes a month after his wife Jennifer was found guilty on the same charges. In a first in the United States, prosecutors successfully argued that they bore responsibility for their son's actions, saying they gave him a gun and ignored signs that he was deeply disturbed.
3 people have been killed in Ohio following a fierce storm that ripped through Ohio and Kentucky. Indiana State Police have said there were many significant injuries and more fatalities would be discovered. There are further reports of damage in other areas in the state of Indiana. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed as emergency crews search the area. Pro athletes are taking to social media to track their progress and compete. 30-year-old boxer Andrzej Kuzli has been posting his journey as he feels this will help him progress his career.
Le meilleur des meilleurs, s'il n'a pas de réseau, il ne sera pas connu. Le déclencheur qui m'a fait me mettre sur les réseaux, c'est surtout le fait que je vois qu'il y a eu plein de gens qui ont commencé à se mettre au sport, qui n'étaient pas spécialement bons dans ce qu'ils faisaient, mais qui avaient énormément de notoriété, et c'est grâce à ça qu'ils ont pu en vivre, etc.
Influencers say that posting content online can propel their sporting careers. Athletes are competing with likes and subscribers to gain the most followers as possible.
Autre que juste être visible par tous, c'est un enjeu financier parce que plus je ramène du monde, plus les promoteurs voudront se battre pour m'avoir. Donc je suis obligé de faire du contenu pour être sûr d'être suivi. Et malheureusement, on doit avoir 2 casquettes, celui du sportif et celui du community manager.
For athletes from Russia and Belarus who are competing under a neutral banner to avoid association with the war in Ukraine, an active social media presence is crucial. Although useful for promoting your profile, athletes are also at risk from having an online presence.
L'irréputation n'est qu'une composante de la réputation, et souvent en fait on voit que l'irréputation est un miroir grossissant, mais aussi un miroir déformant de la réalité. On voit souvent chez les sportifs ce phénomène d'emballement sur les réseaux sociaux. Il y a aussi un risque psychologique pour les sportifs.
À quelques mois des JO, 6 Russes et 5 Biélorusses sont pour l'instant qualifiés en tant qu'athlètes individuels neutres, notamment en cyclisme, en lutte et en natation. Et pour certains, leur neutralité est déjà contestée. Mais le Comité international olympique assure que le contrôle de l'identité numérique fonctionne et que l'image de ces sportifs sera scrutée avant, pendant et après la compétition. Jade Lévin, Euronews, Paris.
Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, more than 20,000 wounded soldiers have passed through Dnipro's Mechinov hospital. Each one has a different story, but they all have the wounds of war in common. Mykola, who worked as a programmer in Lviv, thought his injuries were going to kill him.
Польове поранення на передових позиціях. Обидві легені. Також розтрощені були ребра і грудина.
The doctors at this hospital call it a survival factory. Patients are saved. Not even the daily sirens warning of an air raid jeopardized their work.
Зараз. Це якийсь, ніби ти в один момент потрапив у якийсь жах. Я маю на увазі фільму, і ти не можеш з нього вибратися, але цей жах – це твоє життя, його неможливо описати, це треба просто побачити.
And although they are not at the front line, those who work in this hospital experience the horror of the war by witnessing the number of ambulances and patients that arrive every day.